Hello, beautiful people, future me. Welcome to another round of, well, this time conquering execute program how it seems. But before we do that, we will do 5 minutes of typing exercise and hopefully improve my typing. Because typing is what we do, isn't it? Every day as a programmer, you type on a keyboard. It's not such a huge part as I used to think. That is a part of it. Most of the time I stare at the screen and try to understand things. Oh, well, let's go. Come on. Ah, focus. Set. Alright, so I did something. Let's see. 8%. It's not exactly my best, but at these times it's very important to keep calm and just continue to practice. All right, 6 minutes, almost 7. What is this result? 3% and 42 BPM. That's more like it. Yeah, but don't get cocky. It will get worse. It might be get better. Whatever. The main thing is keep the practice. And yeah, I want to keep this down. Okay, so that is the goal at least. So now we will attack the execute program. I have 3 courses to choose from, I believe, still. So I will randomly choose in here, which is available to me, and that looks like TypeScript. Oh, it's JavaScript. Okay. Congratulations, Mr. or Mrs. JavaScript. We will do you. Okay, so we have a review to do. What a time to be alive. So here, this is the destructuring example. And we have an array. And the C has a value, but D is not defined anywhere, so it is undefined, like so, because it's not in the array, you see? So then we have an object which is called address. City, country, and address string uh, is the method, and it will return something that is a function. So this is how we can excuse me, how we can write a function inside of object. So this will return a string. It will say Paris, comma, space IC, and country is France. And that will be it. Next example is also on destructuring. And we are taking the A and C from the letters array, and then we will print the array which contains them. So it will look like this. Next one. Add a new volume method to this object using JavaScript shorthand method syntax. The volume is the base area times the height. We provided an existing base area method for you to call. So this will demonstrate 2 things. First, how can I write the shorthand method, which is already shown in here. Usage of the this operator, and there's a third thing, and that is that from a shorthand method I can call another methods as well in this object. So let's do that. It is volume they want for us, so volume like so, and here we will return this dot base area, which we will call times, and this will be this dot height, which I oftentimes do typo in, so HAIGHD, that looks good. So I'll press enter and magic happens. Use a single array destructuring operation 2. Put the first and second names into first user and second user variables, and put the rest of the users into another user's variable. So this is an example to demonstrate the rest, or should I say spread? This is the rest operator. The rest operator. So we is that rest operator? Oh well. So const, and we will do an array. Inside of that, we will say the first user, and that will take a mayor. Then we will have a second user. That will take Betty. And then we will do the rest operator. I'm not sure if this is the right name for it in here, but this is how it looks. So three dots and then the variable name. So we'll say other users. And that is the definition of the three variables. The last one will be an array. The first two will be just primitive types, and this is where the values come from, and that is the array names. I like to end my statements with semicolon, so I'll do that right here. And when this semicolon prevents a possible syntax error that wouldn't be your fault. First user, second user, other users. Okay, so you see, they they did it for me, but it's yeah, it's good habits to put it in there. So hopefully this is correct. And it is. And we finished our review. So congratulations. Now we have two lessons available to us. Not that it would matter, but it would be good exercise to choose randomly from those two. So we will use JavaScript function, and that is seal and metRandom. Met seal and met dot random, and we will call that. That will return us numbers between 0 and 1. So when we multiply it by 2, we'll get random numbers between 1 and 2. So let's go. 2 it is. So we will start with the bind thing in modern JavaScript. This refers to the object and that a function belongs to. The rules get complex, but here's a simple example with shorthand methods. In the example below, this inside username refers to the object that username belongs to, and that is user. So this refers to the user. So when we do use this.name, it actually means user.name. So when we say username, this shorthand method will return us the name, which is Amir in this case. The scoping rules for JavaScript this are notorious. We'll see examples throughout this course, but we'll also see ways to avoid the problems entirely. Sometimes, when writing JavaScript code, we'll get backed into a corner where we need to force a function to have a certain this operator. We can do that exactly that with the bind method. So bind method will be changing this for the method. Bind is a method on functions themselves. So we say some function dot bind some new this. That gives us a new version of the function. So that returns a function. Leaving the original function unchanged will not mutate the function we are using, the sum function in this case. When we call the new function, this will be bound to our specified value. Here's a before and after. So we use the name of the function, then we do bind, we provide the new value of this, and this whole thing will return us a new function. So what do we have? So here is constant user that has a name, and then we have a function. function is called username, but it is not inside of the user object. Notice that. So when we are trying to return this.name, that means in this function, or like, well, this in this case, I believe would be a global scope. So uh, yeah, so this is an error. Cannot read property name of undefined because, oh, so it's undefined. Okay, so it's not global, it's undefined. Hmm, okay. Continue. We are. So constant user name Amir. Then we have a. So that is from the previous example, this part. But here we are creating a new function. The function is a copy of username, but this refers now to the user. So if we call our new method, which is called username bound, we will get a mirror. We don't have to introduce a temporary variable to hold the bound function. We can do it as a single expression. That would be username dot bind user dot, or just, like uh, a invoke it. So it will be, yes, exactly this. Use bind to call the get address string function with address bound to this. Okay, so address, okay, address bound to this. Okay, so we will have a get address string uh, bound, just bind, and we will provide the address as a this, and we will invoke it. Get address is not defined. Get address string, damn it. Get address string, like so. Let's see an example of where we might use bind. We've seen shorthand methods defined using the syntax function name, bananas, mustaches. They have a this that refers to the parent object. Okay, so we have his shorthand method, and this refers to the address. So when we call address string, we have the example which we saw already. So Paris, comma, space IC, France, and end. What happens if address string returns a function instead of returning the string directly? It won't work because the inner function has a different this in the inner function. This will be undefined. It will be undefined. It's complicated indeed. Uh, okay, so we have a return address string is a function which returns this function. And this does not see that. Okay. Depending on where you run your example, in a browser, at a node repo, etc., you may see a different error message, but you can be sure that this won't refer to the containing address object. It might be a window or undefined or something else. We can use JavaScript's bind method to manually set our inner functions this. Yeah, so we will return that, and here we will do dot bind. Ah, yeah. So maybe we cannot do that in one expression. Maybe we have to like set it up to a variable and then bind it and return it. Is that it? Okay, so now look at those two pairs of bananas. That might be confusing, or it was to me. So the first, remember that the first thing is to get address string that will return us the function, the f function in here. And the second pair of bananas is invoking it. So then we will get the desired string. And return, this is point to address. So we will get the same thing we saw already. Paris, comma, space, France. Here we go. This particular bind example is a bit weird because we'll soon see a better way to do this using a feature called arrow functions. Better by using a feature called, okay. But, but that also shows us a general lesson. Bind should be used sparingly. Why? There's a better way to solve scoping problems. Okay, when you are tempted to use bind, we recommend searching for another solution, then using bind only as last resort. Why? Oh, that's it. Okay. So, basic object structuring is the next lesson. Let's see if we can finish it before we reach 30 minutes. Modern JavaScript, basic object destructuring. We've seen destructuring in arrays. First name, names, that is Amir. We can also destructure objects. For objects, we pick out specific keys rather than picking out specific indexes like we did with arrays. So name, age, user, name, age. Okay, Amir, and this is Amir at example.com. That is age. Age. 36. Here we go. Yeah, well, yeah, diligence. Well, diligence not like how it's like punctual or something. Or, as with arrays, trying to destructure null or undefined will throw an error. You can type error when a code example will throw an error. All right, so I will type an error. Error if the key doesn't exist in the object, we'll get undefined. Okay, so we are selecting age. Age is not there, so this will undefined. Undefined. Looks good. We can supply the default values like we did for arrays. So age 36, 36. But now there is some values. So it looks weird a little bit. That doesn't it? Like it does a little bit to me. I would be like super confused maybe. Like it's still new to me. Is what I'm trying to say. It looks even this, what this, the first time I would see it, I was like, what? What is like what? What does it mean? Is this real life? Oh, never mind. Let's go. We can collect the rest of the keys with dot dot dot. That gives us an object with every key that wasn't matched explicitly. Oh, in the next example, dot 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 rest will give us an object with the email key and its value. So, so we have a name and then the leftover is email. So we will have an object, I think. So, and it will say email and Amir at example.com, like so. It is a string. Use a single object, the structuring operation 2. Extract the user's names into the name variable. Pull all of the other keys and values into a rest variable. So we will do that. So const here we are using the curly braces. Now we will extract as the name, and the rest will be a rest. So dot 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 rest will be rest of the parameters, comma. They are kind to do it for me, but I will do it anyway. It's good practice, good muscle memory, I think. And go. No, missing any. Oh yeah, my usual error is not to provide the information where we are getting those things, what we are destructuring. So we are destructuring user in this case. Okay. As you can see, typing semicolon because of the muscle memory don't get will not get rid of all of the errors that might appear. Let's continue. What if we want to destructure an object, but we don't know the name of the key in advance? We can do that using syntax that's similar to the computed properties that we've already seen. Computed C, that was yeah, that was the curly brace, then the square brackets. In the square brackets, that was the computed thing, right? Yep. So key equals name, and name, yeah. So that's like the computed thing, right? Really. How they are calling it using syntax that's in computer properties looks exactly the same to me. That's a bit strange to read. It looks like we are supplying a value on the left side to the assignment with a key value. We are not, though. Key is the key whose name is computed at runtime by looking in the variable key. That variable contains name, so we are looking for the name key, yeah, for the key name. Value is the name of the variable that will hold. Oh wow, okay. This is a little bit confusing to me as well, so that's good, I'm learning something. So, this is the name of the field, this is the name of the constant. Okay, this will take a moment to get used to it, I think. Okay, value is the name of the variable that will hold the value in that key. If key is name, that means that value will hold a mirror. Sure. As with regular computed properties, we can put any expression inside the square brackets. Sure. So this is name, key to lowercase, okay, and that will give us a mirror. Still a little bit unexpected for me that this will be the name of the variable, but hey, it is what it is. Write a function to pick a key out of an object. It takes an object and a key as a string. The function lets us to be sloppy by writing the key in incorrect case. It converts the key to lowercase using dot to lowercase, then returns the value that the object has at that lowercase key. Use the structuring. That's what they did in here, right? Use the structuring with computed property syntax to extract the value from the object. So I will do exactly what they did. All right. So we will have this guy here. We will have something we will compute, and this is the name of the value. So that will be return well, let's call it. I like to close things. Now we will have a key dot to lower case, like so, right? Yep. And that is equal to object that should be it. Unexpected token, really? I'm missing this. Oh my god, I'm not returning anything. Yep. The structuring interacts nicely with getters. If an object's key is a getter, we can destructure that key as usual. We'll get the value returned by a getter. So get name, return Betty, and we will have name. Oh, okay. Okay, so that works, so that's good. Betty. Good. Okay. And we are 5 minutes over the time limit, so that means we are done. Done is better than perfect every single time. So see you next time. Have a nice day, beautiful people. Bye.